Welcome to the Swiftie and the Scholar, the podcast where we examine the lyrics, lore, and literary legacy of Taylor Swift. I am Angela McDowell, the Swiftie.
And I am Dr. Jerry Coates, the Scholar.
Hello, Uncle Jerry.
Hello, niece Angela.
How are you doing?
I'm doing swell. I'm excited. I feel a little used here, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't help but remark that the poem we're doing today is one that you trapped me into this whole endeavor with.
It certainly is.
Yes, it is.
So, in case anybody's new and they don't know the lore, I pitched this podcast to Uncle Jerry this summer after I had a brilliant idea. And I knew I needed lyrics to prove why we needed to do this. And I used the lakes to trap you.
You did. You had a PowerPoint. And then she came to my house and we had a PowerPoint, and then she handed me this poem and said, "What do you think?" And it's the lakes. And it's like, well, is this really about the lake poets? And then I saw Wordsworth, and I thought, oh, dang, yeah, this is, and I went off talking about the lake poets. And
we had a whole podcast episode before we had a podcast, sitting on the couch.
And your husband looked at you and you looked at him and you both were just grinning. And I thought, oh, is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
We did it.
You did it. You trapped me.
And now here we are.
I know.
Almost 20 episodes later.
I know. We're going to have a party.
Yeah. So today we're doing the lakes. This is from Folklore.
Yes, it is.
2020. This is written and produced by Taylor and Jack Antonoff.
Good old Jack.
He just keeps showing up.
He does, doesn't he?
So Uncle Jerry hasn't heard this yet. You have a lot of notes there.
I
I will say that before we even get into it, what we're going to listen to at the end of this is the album version, and then there's a little treat of a film called Folklore: The Long Pond Sessions.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
And this is just
Is
Taylor.
it Walden's Pond?
No,
okay.
it's Aaron Dessner, who we have talked about several times as one of Taylor's producers. So Aaron, Jack, and Taylor all worked on Folklore together. And the three of them went to Aaron Dessner's studio called Long Pond Studios in New York, I think it is. And they played the whole album from top to bottom. And there's them talking about it and stuff. So we're going to listen to Taylor and Jack talk about this song. And then we'll listen to them play
cool.
it.
Okay. Well, that's not intimidating at all to know that she's going to talk about it after after I get through spinning my web.
Not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all I have. Let's get into it.
Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget when you handed it to me. I looked at it, it said the lakes, and I immediately thought of the Lake District in England.
I remember you said, "Is this about the lakes?"
The lakes?
And I said, "Yeah, that's why I'm showing it to you."
And I was hoping the Finger Lakes of New York, or no, but yeah. So the lakes. So, and I get 3 words into the poem. Is it romantic? And I thought, oh, really? Is this about romanticism? Is it about the capital R and she's just playing with us and you kept doing what you're doing right now, that is nodding? And so, yes, I do. I studied poetry, taught poetry, and I do it like I think everybody else. It's like when she said, Shakespeare's great. I love the romantic poets.
Yes,
it's like, really? Who doesn't? So, yeah, I was hooked. And I kind of feel the same with this poem. It's kind of fun for its allusions to different things about the lakes. So it starts out, is it romantic? And immediately I think of Romanticism. So Romanticism was a movement, and the lake poets were instrumental in putting the movement forward. Wordsworth and Coleridge produced the Lyrical Ballads.
Okay.
And the Lyrical Ballads is a collection of poems. It includes things that you may know, like Rime of the Ancient Mariner. And it's, it's a new type of poetry. And in the second edition, they come out with a preface to the Lyrical Ballads in which they talk about what they want. And they make a list. And in the list is they want three things. They want common language, they want common people, and they want an inward turning of the mind.
Okay.
Okay. So, I can't help but be skeptical of confessional poetry.
Yes.
And if you have heard 2 or 3 podcasts, you may have heard my prejudice about some about some confessional poetry. But really, they wanted that kind of poetry. They want the poet to take hold and to have an inward turning of their own mind and to place themselves in the poem. That was not a function of poetry prior to the Romantics. Prior to the Romantics in European poetry, they tended to be to speak in the third person, to speak generally about humankind. But the Romantics form a new type of poetry. And they did tend to talk about people in the upper middle and upper classes. They talked about people in idealized situations, and the Lake poets said no. The Romantics wanted something different. So Romanticism focuses on elements like individuality, the retreat into nature, and they really focus on emotion. Okay, so prior to that, what is called neoclassical poetry, neoclassical new classicism, or age of reason poetry. It's the same period from about 1680 or 1700 to about 1780 or 90. They very rarely like blow a trumpet and announce, okay, we're all going to be romantics. But with the Lyrical Ballads, really, Wordsworth and Coleridge kind of blew a trumpet and said, hey, we're all going to be romantics.
Okay, yeah.
But there was a fight over it. So if you've ever read the novels of Jane Austen, for example, Jane Austen is writing right in the middle of that fight between Age of Reason or Neoclassicism and Romanticism.
Okay.
So, for example, in Sense and Sensibility, she's got 2 sisters. One of them, Marianne, is the pure romantic, and the other, Eleanor, is more influenced by the Age of Reason.
Oh, okay.
Right. She keeps the tallies. She keeps the books. She makes sure they can afford things. And she hides her emotions. She keeps her emotions in. Marianne, her emotions are just spilling out everywhere. And it's all about Marianne. It's all about me, right?
Okay, this is probably to so many Swifties, it sounds so dumb, but you're just making me realize right now that Taylor has a song on 1989, which came out over 10 years ago, called New Romantics.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, we're the new romantics. Chick says, baby, your favorite. Baby, we're the new romantics.
That's cool.
And she's talking about like all of the emotions and like crying tears of mascara in the bathroom and stuff. Okay, that's interesting.
Right. Yeah, Eleanor would never do that. Eleanor, she hides around a corner and dots her eyes with a handkerchief. Marianne is, tears streaming down her face. She wants,
that's so interesting.
Yeah, everyone to feel her emotions. So Romanticism, Neoclassicism, or Age of Reason.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yeah, they're very different. She's playing with this idea that this is a romantic poem, not only with a little r as in love, but a big R as in attached to the romantic movements, which is attached to the Lake poets.
Okay.
There are other types of romantic authors. James Fenimore Cooper in America is a romantic author. He writes the Natty Bumppo series, the long stocking books. If you've seen Last of the Mohicans, right, he's a romantic hero. He's an individual. They love native peoples. He's raised by American Indians.
Okay.
They love nature. He runs through the woods.
Okay.
Right. He doesn't march in files like the major in the story does, like the British Army does. There's a great shot in that movie where there's this bridge over nature, and Michael Mann, the director, is really good with kind of this visual imagery of showing neoclassicism bridging over romanticism.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a fight over it, and to a certain extent, we're still in that same fight. That was a lot of talking for 3 words.
That's okay. That's what we do here.
Okay. So I also thought about things like there's a Rodgers and Hart song, Isn't It Romantic? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. This is actually romantic, right? Because
Wait,
it's attached to the Romantic movement.
actually romantic
Right.
is the title of a song on the life of a showgirl.
You know what? It's right there in my notes. I'm beginning to understand Taylor Swift.
Gosh, look at you.
I know.
Such a Swiftie.
We went to that movie together.
We did, yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, actually romantic.
Interesting.
Isn't that great?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's fun. I do, I love the use of the word here, and
Yeah.
it makes me think of a lot of different layers of meaning.
Yeah. So I think it's clear that she takes her inspiration from the Romantic poets.
I think she does. Yes, she does. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it spills over into life too, because romantics were demonstrating a love of nature versus cities, So Wordsworth has poetry where he'll look at a city and he'll sometimes in the early morning he says it's beautiful, but at other times he says we waste ourselves getting and spending. He says, "Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn." That's for one of his poems. And he writes those poems about daffodils and things like that. I first encountered him watching Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Of course, as we all did.
I know, Bullwinkle's Poetry Corner. I am not kidding.
I believe you.
So, is it romantic how all my elegies eulogize me? Okay. Ironic, right? Because an elegy is a poem, about death or sadness or, celebrating someone who's passed. And a eulogy is a speech at a funeral. So, my elegies, my poems of sadness are eulogies to me. Okay, so I mean, I think she's talking about her poetry. And you can probably tell me better. Her sad poems cause her to be elegized. That is, her sad poems bring a lot of criticism, a lot of postmortems from other people.
Yeah, and it's just that's the main thing that she's gotten criticized for her whole life, her whole career, is like all she does is write breakup songs.
Right.
She, all the men leave, and she just, uses that breakup to write another album,
Well, and I was just as bad. I told you, and I'm serious, I told you that in the first 2 or 3 songs, I said, is all she does is just whine about breakups? Is that, but that was like my first impression when I would like first read lyrics.
Right.
And then I would read lyrics and go, oh, no, there's a lot more going on here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, yes, I am part of the male patriarchy and, down with the patriarchy. No, I'm pretty serious.
Yeah, no, I know you are.
Yeah, so I'm as guilty as anyone of looking at her poetry on a very surface level and belittling it, eulogizing it and saying it just needs to go away or it needs to die. So I think that she's kind of brilliant in using the irony in that phrase, the elegies eulogize me. And the beauty of her work as a poet is that in that phrase, you see her using the assonance, the use of the vowel sound E.
So many.
I know, it's so clever, right? Eulogies, elogize me.
Yeah.
So, she's got assonance, she's got a little alliteration with the S's and the Z's. So she's demonstrating her poetic skill, she's demonstrating her poetic understanding, and at the same time using irony, to disparage those who speak out against her just because they trivialize her poetry as merely romantic. Right. It's not merely romantic. I'm embracing romanticism with a capital R. Get out of my face. Right. And that's the first line.
Oh, goodness.
And then she says, I'm not cut out for all these cynical clones, these hunters with cell phones. This great rhyme. So we've got a rhyme scheme rolling, A, B, B, me, clones, phones. We've got great alliteration, cynical, cell.
Yeah.
And then we've got this hard sound with cut and clones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why do we use harsh sounds? Because we're talking about harsh things.
Uh-huh.
Remember, a bad poet just matches letters because they think it's cute. A good poet uses alliteration because they want to demonstrate a tone or an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So she says cut, clones, right? So she's using these harsh sounds to describe things that are harsh to her.
Yeah.
So she's talking about those critics.
Right.
Right? Those critics, those people who just hunt her out and text out their cool opinions, I think she uses cell phones because it's technology.
Yeah, and it almost to me is like, so I had problems with cynical clones at first, but then I'm like, oh no, that's just like everybody being a critic and they all say the same things,
Right.
And then the hunters with cell phones, at first I'm like, does that like take me out of it? But it's like, I think it's more like these poets who we're going to talk about later that, escaped to the lakes and made their art there. Was, it was hundreds of years ago and they didn't have cell phones, but they were facing kind of the same.
They had the same
issues,
exactly the same issues, yes.
The same kind of critics, the same life problems as she does now in the year 2020,
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know, it really works for me when she mixes kind of the quill pen element with really modern terminology, It kind of takes me out of it. But I don't know, I like the use of it here.
I'm going to say it's an appropriate use because of how she starts the poem. She announces this is a romantic poem. Okay. So one of the tenets of Romanticism is common language, common people, inward turning.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
And so she's going to use common language and she's going to attack those cynical clones.
Okay.
Right? It's a modernist word.
Yeah.
So she's going to use common modernist words because that's a tenet of Romanticism.
Okay. Yeah.
I liked the intrusion of technology with cell phones because that's what it is. It's an intrusion in
absolutely.
her life.
Yeah.
And certainly, the lake poets retreated to the lakes, or maybe retreated is a poor word. They discovered the lakes as a refuge against the advancing technological culture that they were caught in. They were trapped in the burgeoning height of industrialization, right? And so they, at some point they're seeking something different. They're seeking something other than this increasingly mechanized society that especially England was becoming. England was this, the maker of the world.
Right.
By the 1850, we get the Crystal Palace and the Great Exhibition with Victoria, and all this technology comes flooding into England. The inventors of the steam engine or the train system that they have is a technological marvel. The ability to drill tunnels and create the underground is a technological marvel.
Totally, yeah.
So the lake poets were seeking refuge against that.
Let us just go make our art and
right
in peace.
So I feel like I do want to mention who the lake poets were. Should I pause and do that?
Please, yes.
Okay, so very famously, William Wordsworth is the lake poet. He and his sister Dorothy lived in Dove Cottage in the Lake District. So it's a district in central and central western England. It's stunningly beautiful, with these beautiful peaks and lakes, obviously.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
And they, lived in the area along with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and Coleridge and Dorothy and William would take long walks together. Dorothy would sometimes take notes, and they would compose poetry on the go. So it was very natural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, that's a romantic hallmark. It was very oral, so they would just kind of speak it and rework the words as they would be walking. I don't want to relegate Dorothy to just being a stenographer. She was also a writer in her own right. She did write some poetry. She wrote essays. So, more and more we're appreciating Dorothy as a writer. She got relegated to a second level, I think, by the patriarchy.
Of course, yeah.
And, so more and more we're beginning to see and appreciate who she is. They moved to Rydell Mount, and it's still in the family. A member of the Wordsworth family bought it and still lives there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so the Wordsworths are still in the Lake District. Coleridge lived in a place called Greta Hall in Keswick, and it's a little bit larger place. Dove Cottage, I'm telling you, is just as charming as it can be. It's just beautiful. They had a friend there who also lived in Greta Hall after Coleridge moved out, Robert Southey.
Okay.
And then there's a whole list of people who went through and visited and stayed for a period of time. And I made a list: Thomas de Quincy, John Keats, Percy Bysshe Shelley. You know why his middle name is Bysshe? Because must be a son of a Bysshe.
I knew that was going somewhere silly.
Yeah, thank you. And then, I don't mean to be sheepish, but
Oh my gosh.
Charles and Mary Lamb were there. My man, John Ruskin.
Okay, yeah.
I love John Ruskin, mostly prose writer. I've got all of Ruskin's works in 14 volumes
Oh my
down
goodness.
the hallway. You can borrow them.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned him before.
I have
for
mentioned
sure,
him
yeah.
before. I love his sense. He writes about the nature of aesthetics. The Gothic is one of his
okay.
famous essays.
Okay.
One of my favorite authors lived there late in her life in a place called Ambleside, Harriet Martineau.
Okay.
And not a lot of people know
I was
her.
going to say, I don't recognize that name at all.
Yeah, she's an interesting writer because she's female. She traveled a great deal. She wrote a lot of essays. She was interested in politics and sociology.
Okay.
Wrote some very important early political sociological essays. I visited her home in Tynemouth in northern England. It's right there by the sea. Again, just beautiful. And, one thing to think about the Lake Poets, and one thing I think one of the reasons why she's captivated by them is not just their poetry, which we all love.
Yeah.
It's by something you said earlier, and that is they faced a lot of criticism and discrimination. The title Lake Poets was actually intended as a derogatory label.
Oh.
Yeah.
By like people who lived in the city.
Yeah, I wrote down the quote. So there's an essayist named Francis Jeffrey who published an essay in the Edinburgh Review, and he says, I quote for you, "The school of whining and hypocritical poets that haunt the lakes."
Good grief.
Yeah, so they're whining and hypocritical.
Well, I mean, that kind of sounds like exactly what they say about Taylor.
Isn't that interesting? Yes, I know. I told you my first reading of one of her early poems is just a little whining, but then I said, no, then I realized, no, that's just, my knee jerk and overly masculinized. Is that a word?
Sure.
Reaction. He also said that they were, he criticized them for their, quote, radical, misguided departure, unquote, from established literary norms. So they're talking about their own lives and themselves. And
Oh, yeah, like how dare they put themselves in the poetry.
right, you can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, they were criticized for being politically disapproved for antisocial principles.
Because they moved away?
They wanted to move out into nature. They wanted to experience the closeness and joy of nature. So now they're antisocial.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, you can see how that'd be a challenge to the Age of Reason, to Neoclassicism. And Neoclassicism is all about building cities, building structures. If you go to Washington, D.C., it was designed in a neoclassic way. It was laid out in a grid work, in a pattern, right? All of that new classical elements of culture and society. the lake poets were trying to escape from. And so they become, in the words of Mr. Jeffries, antisocial.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so you can see how people get labeled.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the attraction for Taylor Swift. They get labeled. The irony to me is, I like Robert Southey's work. I like his poetry. And it's funny because he was criticized because at first he was a conservative, and then when he switched political parties, he was criticized for switching.
Of course.
So it's like, people.
You can't win.
No. And
You just can't.
I don't think Taylor Swift can win. She's just got to take a breath and produce her art.
Keep going, yeah.
Which is what she does.
Yeah.
And put money in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Show all of you.
Yeah, well, and more than that, I think she shows us all by writing good poetry.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so we'll go back to her good poetry.
Yes.
In the chorus, she says, "Take me to the lakes," and I am telling you that just strikes to my heart because, the lake country is just so beautiful and relaxed. It's a place renowned for its natural beauty, and so people go there and they'll stay a week and they go hiking.
Yeah.
There's a hiking route around Lake Windermere, and there are a number of hiking routes all through the lakes. So just the phrase "take me to the lakes" just makes me want to go.
And it feels very, even if you take specifically the lakes out of it, but it's like, it's like this escapism, that I feel like in 2020 for sure people needed when she wrote this. And even and now it feels like the world feels worse now somehow. But yeah, it is just very much like, let's just run away. Like, why are we here? Why are we doing all this?
Right.
Why are we in this grind? Like, why do I go to a job that I hate every day?
To quote, to quote Wordsworth, we lay waste our powers. The getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Yeah. It makes me think, I don't know if I should apologize for always quoting stuff, but
You absolutely shouldn't.
But yeah, it makes me think of Henry David Thoreau's Walden, where he goes out to experience a simple life and talks about growing beans. It really makes me think about beans with W.H. Auden, who wrote William Butler Yeats, who wrote a really beautiful poem, The Lake Isle of Innisfree. And he talks about just going, I want to build a home on the Lake Isle of Innisfree of wattle made and 9 bean rows. And, it's just I just want a simple life. And that's what Romanticism. So
I just want to be able to write some words down and live an easy life.
Take me to the lakes. Yeah. So it's beautiful, simple, where all the poets went to die. They did die there. Wordsworth and Dorothy are both buried there. Coleridge's son, Hartley, kind of a scallywag. That's a funny word. I wonder if the algorithm is going to pick that up.
Yeah, the algorithm loves when you say scallywag.
Really? Scallywag. Anyway, Hartley was a bit of a scoundrel, but Wordsworth looked after him. He died actually just before Wordsworth died, just 2 or 3 years before Wordsworth died. Wordsworth was born 1780, dies 1850.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he lived a long life. Yeah. Some of his later poetry, not that great, but, he lived a long life. And he was in his late years from, I think, about 43 to 50. He was a poet laureate of England. But he buried Hartley there in the Lake Country. So it's a place where they did go to die. And maybe just where they're laid to rest.
Right.
Which is kind of a beautiful image. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. So I love the intrusion of the my beloved. She's speaking to someone.
Yeah.
Wordsworth uses the phrase my beloved,
Okay.
as does Elizabeth Barrett Browning. You know, EBB wrote the Sonnets of the Portuguese, and in Sonnet 20, she addresses my beloved. So it's a very 19th century, very romantic thing to say and do. So she's got the diction of Romanticism
She does,
down.
yeah.
Yeah. So she says, I don't belong in this cynical, technologically bound world of, you know, cell phones and clones. So take me to the lakes. I know. Can you see why when she gave me this poem I had to say yes?
And now we're here months later, still just...
Well, it is everything I love about literature. It resounds with any poet that's ever written a poem about nature.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it resounds. It's like Christopher Marlowe's passionate shepherd to his love, you know, where he says, you know, that he wants to take her out. He's a passionate shepherd, and he talks to the girl, to his love, you know, and says, come with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove of hills and valleys, dales and vales, and all that steepy mountains yields, right? Come with me and be my love.
Yeah, let's just go.
Yeah, let's go. She says those Windermere peaks look like a perfect place to cry. So, you know, I don't think she's crying about the cynics who hate her or you know, belittle her poetic power.
No.
It's just a place to have to explore our emotions.
Yeah, just to feel.
Right,
And
to
experience those feelings.
Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, to experience the inward turning of the mind.
Yeah, yeah.
As Wordsworth wrote in the Lyrical
Ballads.
Ballads.
Beautiful. Yeah, that
right?
really does. Yeah.
Yeah. So she says, and the Windermere peaks, you know, the peaks around Lake Windermere and the lakes, just beautiful. I'm setting off, but not without my muse. Okay, so I did pause a lot and think about the muse. Obviously, there are 9 muses in classical Greek and Roman mythology. Among romantics, they talk about nature being their muse.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, you know, maybe she wants this, the simplicity of nature to drive her poetry, to drive her emotions, to be her muse. I also thought about, only because you've told me this, you're polluting me. But you told me that she struggled for her first 6, to retain the rights to her first 6 albums. And, you know, I wondered if she was talking about her past work.
Yeah, and they were already at this point, they had been sold away.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you know, so she wants to free her artistic integrity. She wants time to explore, and she wants that to be her muse. She wants the Windermere, the Lake Windermere, the peaks, the poets of the past, all to whisper to her and be her muse.
Just their ghosts, for better lack of term, like
absolutely.
just around their energy around the place. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Verse 2?
Yeah.
Okay. What should be over burrowed under my skin in heart-stopping waves of hurt? Okay, heart-stopping waves of hurt, she'd be dead.
Yeah, yeah.
That's called hyperbole.
Yes.
That's an exaggeration, right? But there is such a thing as stress-induced cardiomyopathy.
Oh, of course.
Where your heart does stop or have arrhythmia. I'm not that kind of doctor, not the kind that can write prescriptions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that she's felt emotional stress that you could say is stress-induced heart stopping. And so I see her hyperbole, but I agree with it as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, again, if she's talking about the loss of control over her albums as burrowing under her skin. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be 100 things.
Yeah.
You know, but we always joke, and like I'm like this too, so I feel fine joking about it, that like Taylor's never gotten over a single thing that ever happened to her.
Yeah.
And neither have I. I was literally just telling you a story about a thing that happened to me like 3 weeks ago, and I'm still talking about it. Yes. It was a very small thing. But
we were having brownies earlier. So.
But I do love this because it's like, she has another song where she says, I'm just too soft for all of it. Like, it's like the world is hard, and no matter what you do, bad things are going to happen to you. And I can't get over them, and it just makes me want to escape to like a beautiful place where I can just go live in secret, you know?
Right. Yeah, if I were going to escape, the lake country would be on the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it really would be.
Yeah.
I do love the use of the word burrowed. It burrowed under her skin like some kind of a parasite, you know, so it's like some kind of a bug or a thing or a living creature. She personifies her angst, her heart-stopping waves of hurt. Yeah. Yeah, she says, I've come too far to watch some name-dropping sleaze to tell me what are my words worth. Oh, seriously.
It's so fun, right?
Oh, she's just too cute. What are my words worth?
Yeah. I think, honestly, it's written just normally here, but I think in the lyric video that we'll watch later, I think it might be capitalized in one word.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but I'm not positive.
Okay, just so we don't miss it.
Yeah, just like, hey, this is what I mean
Wordsworth.
here. But I'm not sure. We'll have to watch out for that. But
and this is called a poetic inversion, by the way. Tell me what are my words worth. It should be what my words are worth.
Right.
Right. So she inverts the words. And a lot of romantic poets did that, by the way. It's a trait. One of the reasons why you have a word inversion is so it rhymes. So if you back up and look at the rhyme scheme, you know, we looked in the first at the verse 1, A, B, B, A, and then we have die, you, cry, muse, so C, D, C, D. So she's clearly maintaining this rhyme scheme. Skin, hurt, sleaze, worth, E, F, G, F. So, you know, some poets will use word inversions like this, so the word worth comes to the end of the line, so it can rhyme with hurt.
Yeah.
And that tends to be an old technique. Modern poets don't tend to use word inversion. They think you ought to be a better writer. Find another rhyme.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But she inverts the word to kind of reflect the style of the Romantics and to do the Wordsworth thing.
Yeah, and to just get that Wordsworth in there.
Yeah. So I did question the use of the word sleaze.
Okay.
On my first reading or two, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I mean, it just seems so ugly, and I know she's describing an ugly thing,
Yeah.
but it seems so common. And then I remembered, wait a minute, one of the hallmarks, according to Lyrical Ballads.
You just told us common words.
Common words. And I thought, okay, Wordsworth and Coleridge said, common people, common language, the inner turning of the mind. Yes. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny that I reacted to it my first reading or two, and then I had to remind myself.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, we're using common language.
Interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, common words. So again, the chorus just implores us, take me to the lakes where all the poets go to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. Those Windermere Peaks look like a perfect place to cry. I'm setting off, but not without my muse. She's not leaving without him or her or them.
Or her work. Or
her work or her inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want auroras and sad prose. Okay. So Elizabeth Barrett Browning wrote a poem about Aurora. You know, Aurora is the goddess of morning light in Greek religion, in ancient Greek mythology. Also, Aurora Borealis is, of course, the
Did you
northern
see
lights.
that this week?
I did.
My gosh, I was losing my mind, but I couldn't see it.
I know. It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be able to see it again tonight, or like 19 states will see it again tonight.
Okay, well, I gotta get
along with the Leonid.
the meteors.
Meteors, yeah. So there will be auroras in the sky.
Yeah, and here's our sad prose.
And sad prose. Yeah. Yeah, the take me to the lakes is just a plaintive urge that is sad prose.
I do. Whenever I get annoyed by something and like want to leave, I say to myself, take me to the lakes.
And, you know, this was a phrase that really stayed with me because I can't figure out why it feels sad. Is it just take me away? Just
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're so desperate to escape your life, like that's not a happy thing, right? Like
Right.
you have one person, your muse, maybe it's a person, maybe it's your art, maybe you have this one thing that's worth protecting, you know?
Yeah.
But the rest of it, you're like, leave it all behind. Let's go to the lakes.
It's beautiful. I like it. Of course, I mean, you could not have picked a better poem to hook me.
Well, I know, that's why I did it.
No. Very smart. I want auroras and sad prose. I want to watch wisteria grow right over my bare feet. So wisteria, that sad, hanging, purpley, fragrant vine that usually climbs up. So it's wisteria is often associated with sadness, symbolic of crying tears. So there she is. That it's going to grow right up over her bare feet, and it keeps climbing because it's a climbing vine. Because I haven't moved in weeks. She just wants to be still and be in the lakes.
Yeah.
Because I haven't moved in years. And I wondered about that. Is she talking about emotional stagnation? I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like she's actually saying, I don't want to move,
Right.
Like it does feel like I just am,
And I wondered if there's a hint of defiance, like, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. You will find me here and I'll be covered over with fragrant flowers,
Yeah.
So take your cell phone and get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder about.
Or like I haven't moved in years. Maybe that's like I haven't worked. I'm not making these people money. I'm not all these people that make money off of my name and are these name dropping sleazes. Like I haven't done anything to allow them to.
And I don't want to go too much farther without acknowledging the continuing rhyme. It feels like a turn backward in poetry to have a consistent rhyme scheme. She doesn't have a consistent rhyme scheme often through her songs. This one does, that rhyming is pervasive in this poem. Prose, feet, years, here, ground, tweet, pools, grief. So you see how feet, tweet, grief all come together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And years here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
Is that a hallmark of Romanticism?
I think so. They're consistent with rhyme, and I think that she wants to write a neo-romantic poem. Yeah. She says, "I want you right here." So who's the you? Her beloved. At this point, after 2 or 3 read-throughs, I began wondering if she's talking to us.
Yeah.
The reader, the listener, her, I don't mean to say her fans, but it feels like it's trivializing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
People who are embedded in her work and people who enjoy her poetic style. She wants them with her to understand these lyrics.
Yeah, the people who get it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get it, set your phone down and come with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. A red rose grew up out of ice-frozen ground. If there is a more romantic statement, I need you to show it to me.
Yeah.
So the Romantics loved the idea of ice. If you've ever read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein escapes over the ice floes. The rose, the symbol of love, beauty, blood, a symbol of perfect imperfection, a symbol of contrast, because every rose has its thorns. Yeah, I think I remember that song too.
I do know that one.
Every rose, every cowboy sings a sad, sad song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love this idea that nature will force its way even through the ice, and that beauty will emerge even through this wall of cold. Yeah, so, I think that she's talking about this romantic ideal of the emergence of beauty, the pervasiveness of poetry and their goals. I think she's also talking about her work.
Her own art. Like, it doesn't matter what is going on.
Yeah.
my art is still going to rise up out of me.
Yeah, say what you need to, just like the Lake poets who faced a wall of discrimination because their political views, a wall of discrimination because their social views. Just like them, I'm going to persevere, and I'll be better than this technology that you use to put me down. And she kind of addresses that in the next line,
Yeah.
with no one around to tweet it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to say I really played with this line, and you can tell me if I'm off the wrong track. So no one's around to tweet about the red rose, but also tweeting could be a bird, right? So I wondered if she meant, or that deep in winter there would be no bird to sing about the beauty of the rose,
Oh, that's interesting.
right?
Yeah.
So there's no bird there to herald this miraculous event.
Yeah. To like take the news, you know.
Right, to take the news onward.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really ambiguous line. I love the ambiguity. I love the image of there's no bird there to sing about this miracle. So she's just going to spend her time and bathe in cliffside pools. There are swimming pools around. You can go bathing. With my calamitous love and insurmountable grief.
Yeah, so that's where some of the sadness comes too, like the insurmountable grief of the heart-stopping waves of hurt. Like that
Right.
does give it all like a melancholic feel.
Her loves and her love of poetry and her love of the romantics and her love of writing and her love of her songs, maybe even her fans, may seem calamitous because people criticize her for it. But yeah, there's an insurmountable grief there. She's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
You know why? Because in the chorus she says, "Take me to the lakes where all the poets went to die. I don't belong, and my beloved, neither do you. Those Windermere peaks look like a perfect place to cry. I'm setting off, but not without my muse. No, not without you." And you just realize, oh, well, maybe we're all her muse.
Yeah.
Maybe we're what keeps her going. Maybe we're the impetus for her work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not terribly complicated. I love the use of irony, love the rhyme. There are a few metaphors. I think she's playful with words.
It's very fun about now that you're explaining all of the different romantic tenets. It's very fun the way she kind of weaves that through.
Yeah, I think so too. So I like it. I'll do the podcast with you.
Yay!
Well, given my literary propensity, you could not have picked a better poem.
I know.
Yeah, you know.
I know. I knew what I was doing.
Yes, you did. And I thank you for it. Yeah. This poem just reminds me of all the great romantic poets that you read, you know, and the ones since, the ones that you learn to like.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to hear it.
All right, let's listen.
All right.
So like I said, we'll listen to the album version, we'll watch the lyric video, and then we will go to the Long Pond sessions.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Give me your thoughts on the lakes.
Well, I just want to go outside now and take a nap in the sunlight.
Yeah.
So in the lyric version, I did like the topography of the letters.
Yeah, I totally forgot that she did that.
Yeah, where they would go up with
Yeah, it was like
peaks,
peaks.
and waves would go like this. And she put Wordsworth together. So it's like, come on, people, don't miss it.
Yeah. Just really spelling it out for us.
She really is. I like the way she changes tone when she says, "Take me to the lakes." I love the version there at the house. What's that called again?
Long Pond.
Okay. Yeah. I really liked that.
Yeah,
I
me
love
too.
just the guitars
Yeah, that whole they played that whole album,
Yeah.
and it is available like on streaming on
Oh, really?
on Spotify. So I often listen to that version of Folklore rather than the original album version.
It gives me a real peaceful feeling. I'm probably talking real low, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting here with my head in my hand going, "Ah."
Yeah, it's really nice, right?
Yeah, it's like I feel like my blood pressure went down about 15 points. And she does. I'm so glad she's been. She talked about that. I think that's cool. She talked about visiting his grave. He's buried in St. Oswald's Church in Grasmere, and it's there in the Lake District. And so many beautiful sights. I mean, Wordsworth wrote this poem, lines composed a few miles above Tintern Abbey. He wrote Intimations of Immortality, just beautiful poems about walking in that environment. He uses the phrase "splendor in the grass."
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And she knows that they were criticized, which I thought was really interesting. So she knows a little bit about their history and understands that people criticized them for being antisocial and criticized them for their poetic techniques, criticized them for wanting individuality, wanting to retreat into nature, all things I can see were just awful.
How dare?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And she said that. Let's see. She said, I'm going there in my head," which it's funny because it echoes a poem by William Wordsworth.
Oh.
Yeah. William Wordsworth writes a poem about seeing the daffodils and walking in nature, and he says whenever he's in the city, whenever he's in pensive mood, he thinks once again of the daffodils just tossing their heads. And I do too, when I'm real busy or when I used to work, when I'm slaving over a hot new poem that you sent me.
I was going to say, you're working. What are you talking about?
You know how you sit back in your chair and you remember that vacation in Colorado, or Leslie and I just got back from England, and I just remember this. It's funny because just the other day I was sitting outside and I was thinking about this beautiful evening we spent in Lincoln just after a rain. And they had these dark clouds above the cathedral and the castle. And I thought that was just so perfect. It was so beautiful. And, there are some moments where you just have those perfect moments.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to any big cities in this last trip. We were there for 17 days and we went to smaller towns and looked at the countryside. We went to Stamford, what Walter Scott called the most perfect stone village in England. It's a kind of mirror of the Cotswold. And there's just something wonderful about going among just real people without tourists around.
Yeah, just the actual villages.
And Stamford has this lake bed and this big park along the side of the lake, and families were there with kids and dogs were running around. And we just wanted to stay all afternoon. I know we sat at a bench and, it's like you're on vacation. You got to hurry to the next spot.
Yeah.
We sat at a bench and just watched people play.
That's how I like to vacation.
Well, those moments come back to you. Right. And so I loved hearing her say, I'm going there in my mind.
And that reminds me also of a thing I think we've talked about a few times. I know we talked about it when we were talking about this song on the couch before we started this podcast, where we were talking about, I think you said it was like reader response theory, where you said something about culture creates the art.
Right.
And I think that is very true of Folklore and Evermore. That, it was 2020, we couldn't go anywhere, nobody was traveling, and so you had to build up this escapism in your mind. You had to go there in your brain,
Well, and one of the three tenets laid out in the lyrical ballads,
the inner world,
the inward turning of the mind.
Turning of the mind.
Yeah, exactly. So she's got it.
Yeah.
She understands it in this song. This song makes me feel good. It makes me want to go and, I don't know, crack open Robert Browning's poetry,
Yeah.
or revisit Elizabeth Barrett's Aurora Leigh,
Yeah.
her long biographical poem. Wait, did I just say Aurora Leigh?
Yeah.
I know,
Oh,
I know.
no.
There's a poem. I just now thought of that I want auroras and
Yeah.
sad prose. And Elizabeth Barrett Browning writes this long poem, Aurora Leigh. Next time I'm there, I want to go to Dove Cottage. I'm going to see if there's actually wisteria growing up the side of the
Yeah.
cottage. I remember vines, but
Yeah, I was going to ask you that if you remember seeing Wisteria.
I don't know. Could be.
Okay, you ready to grade it?
Yeah, can I have a nap afterwards?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, thank you. I don't mean to be so laid back. I should be excited.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, For the Lakes, Lyrical Strength.
Lyrical strength. I like the rhyme scheme. Kind of cute with the phrase Wordsworth.
Yeah.
I like the irony. She kind of gets mad at a couple of little points.
Yeah,
doesn't
in
she?
that, in the Long Pond sessions,
Yeah.
her face goes real mad when I
Yeah.
feel like she has one specific person in mind
She
for
looks.
name-dropping sleaze.
Yeah, she looks right into the camera and says, "Name dropping sleaze."
His name might be Scooter Braun for all of you out there, but
Yeah. So I'm going to say a 97.
okay, off to a good start. Narrative and structure.
Oh yeah, I definitely felt her moving, from the troubles of the world, from technology, moving into the lakes, and so I felt that a 97.
Okay.
Sure.
Production and atmosphere.
I like both versions. I like the guitar, the acoustical elements
Me too.
almost better.
Me too.
Quieter. And sitting around there's something about sitting in a wood paneled den in plaid shirts that
That feels familiar.
I know. So I'm going to say 98. I liked it. Yeah.
Okay. Lore and literary references.
I just hated it. No.
I feel like I have so much to link in this episode.
I know. Yeah. Be sure you get everybody. Be sure you get Harriet Martineau.
This one's gonna take it out of me.
Yeah, I don't know. Just so many people went there, and so many people joined the artist community there. And I should also mention it's not just poets, but it's sculptors, painters. I mean, John Ruskin was an essayist, but he also painted.
Oh, okay.
And his friend Turner, visited him there, and so Turner's very famous for English Romanticism and early Impressionism. So lots of people went there for the inspiration and the beauty of nature. So I'm going to say 23.
What?
No.
What?
I'm going to give it a perfect 100.
Oh my goodness.
It's just too fine.
So good. Okay,
Yeah.
an emotional impact.
Oh yeah, I just want to lie down and just enjoy the beauty of nature now.
Yeah.
And watch for the rose forcing its way through the
Ice frozen ground.
That's right. So I'm going to say 99.
Okay, that gives us a 98.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And maybe it plays into all of my own predilections and prejudices.
That's allowed. You're allowed to grade on that.
Okay. Yeah, because I just, I'm one of those people. I love poetry, and I'm particularly drawn to 19th century poetry.
Yeah, that's really your sweet spot right here, this whole thing.
It is. It's funny too, because I told Leslie the other day, I was more of a medievalist, religious history, things like that. And I told her, if I had another academic life to lead, I would just focus on English Victorianism and English Romanticism and Victorianism.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love the poets. Love Matthew Arnold. I love Charles Dickens. Thomas Hardy. I don't know, Mrs. Oliphant.
Yeah.
Lots of great novelists and poets. So, yeah, I would focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, by the way, for starting us down this path. It was this poem that put our feet on the path to exploring her poetry.
It did.
So
We've gone so many places.
yeah, it's been fun. Maybe we should go to the lakes sometime.
I was just thinking, like, how can I get myself to the lakes, like, tomorrow?
I know. Take me to the lakes.
Yeah.
Just go to Chase and say, take me to the lakes. And then call him my beloved.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work on him.
I know it will.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
No.
Okay.
Until next time, I'm going to be napping
Okay, perfect.
outside.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere. All the place. I've just lost my train of thought. Where are we? What are we doing?
YouTube, Instagram,
Thank you.
Yeah, TikTok.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on social at Instagram and TikTok at Swiftie and Scholar Pod. You can find me on Instagram at Angela Wyatt McDowell, and you can find Uncle Jerry napping, dreaming about the lakes.
That's me. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.